I can't believe this player was making fun of this dead person's body. That's absolutely disgusting. In today's video, I'm gonna be going over the most disturbing moments in Squid Game Season 3. I can't believe these players did these cruel and disgusting acts. Like, how is that even possible? Like and subscribe right now if you think Squid Game Season 3 was depressing, because I sure did. I'll be going over the most disturbing moments on every episode, so let's start at episode 1. Alright, so the first disturbing scene we got to see in season 3 was Jihyun complaining about why he's still alive. Squid Game by itself is already an uneasy show, so for someone to be complaining about why they didn't die, it feels really uncomfortable. Jihyun was saying these things because he knew the frontman purposely put him back in the games to suffer more, and he prefers his life to be over than to continue watching more players die. Alright, so the next disturbing moment we see in episode 1 was Shaman laughing in front of Jihyun's face. You might wonder, why is this disturbing? It's just someone laughing in front of someone. Well, no. When you laugh in Squid Games, it's a big no-no. You make everyone feel uncomfortable. Jihyun had just lost his best friend Jung Bae. He was already very down. So for someone to start laughing, even talking about the deaths that Jihyun had just lost, it was really messed up. Anyways, Jihyun ended up choking her, and she completely deserved that. The way she acted was disgusting. Alright, so the last disturbing moment I found in the first episode of season 3 was Kang Dae-ho approaching Jihyun during the team making scene. A lot of you might be confused on why is this disturbing. I found this scene very disturbing because before this scene happened, Jihyun kept death staring Dae-ho, which made him extremely uncomfortable. He finally decided to approach Jihyun, and when he did, it was really disturbing. Seeing him act the way he did, he was extremely impulsive with his actions. Alright, so moving on to episode 2 now. The first disturbing moment in this episode is when Namgyo took 2 pills instead of 1. The reason why this scene is so disturbing is because Namgyo could overdose on the pills intake he's receiving. Thanos always used to take 1 pill, and Thanos could handle the pills quite well. But Namgyo, I was very concerned for him when he took these 2 pills. I knew he would become too psychotic, and I was completely right. Just wait to see how much more disturbing he actually gets. The next disturbing scene is Namgyo making fun of a dead body. It all started when player 411 was running in the maze tag game, and both Namgyo and Lee Myung-gi were chasing right after him. Sadly, the blue player reaches to the corner and is completely stuck. Namgyo and Lee Myung-gi, sick enough, team up together and stab him at the same time. And you're not gonna believe how Namgyo reacts to this. When player 411 is dead, he goes, "Here, look, those eyes, doll eyes." At this point, we can actually just see how psychotic Namgyo is, and he really needs to be sent to a mental hospital ASAP. The next disturbing moment in episode 2 is when Shaman gets kicked out of her own door. In this scene, Shaman and player 100 aka Gramps are both in a room, and in front of them is an exit to the door of the maze tag game. To get out of the exit door in the game, you need to have 3 keys. Shaman had all of them when she collected them, so she was ready to exit the door. But then something unexpected happens, and honestly, it's quite disturbing. I almost feel bad for Shaman, but I don't really because of her character. When she's about to get out on her own team player pushes her out the way and then locks the door. Even for someone like Shaman, this disturbed me since they were both on the same team. The last shocking moment in episode 2 is when Minsu was asking "Where's See-Me?" even though she died in season 2. Minsu was under the hallucination of Thanos' pills, and oh boy, he really looked like he was in another planet. Minsu came into the room and asked Shaman, "Excuse me, have you seen See-Me?" It was extremely disturbing to see Minsu ask where a dead person was. This made everyone so concerned for him, but at least he passed the maze game under this condition. Alright, so we are now moving on to episode 3 now. The first disturbing moment that happened in episode 3 is when Gumja took her own life away. This happened when all the players woke up the next day, and the Red Guards had walked in with a coffin. At this point, we all thought, what the heck is going on? Who else died? This is making no sense. But then we saw Gumja had taken her own life away, since she couldn't live with the fact that she took her own son's life away the night before. This was extremely devastating and disturbing to see. The next disturbing act in episode 3 was when we got to see Lee Myung-gi not giving any attention to his baby when Ji-hun was taking care of it. At the start of the rope bridge game, Ji-hun wanted to take a look at Kim Jun-hee's leg to see how messed up it really was. And oh boy, it was inflamed like crazy. Lee Myung-gi then glanced at them and did nothing else. He just carried on with what he was doing. The reason why this scene is so disturbing is because he is the father of the baby and he's not even giving a moment to check if his baby's okay. The final most disturbing moment in episode 3 is when Namgyo died because he was addicted to the pills. At the end of episode 3, Minsu was teasing Namgyo with Thanos' pills to get back at him for killing the girl he liked, Simi. Minsu ends up throwing Namgyo's pills onto the bridge and he's freaking out because he wants them badly and he's going through major withdrawals. So he ends up chasing him, only thinking about the pills and nothing else. But then he realizes that there's no pills inside of it anymore and he freaks out, and then boom, he falls to his death. All because of how addicted he was to these pills. That's why you shouldn't do drugs, kids. The first disturbing moment that occurred in episode 4 is when Lee Myung-gi left Kim on the bridge. I really did not think that he would have left her like that. I mean, he left so easily. He didn't even try. This made me really outraged and honestly disturbed that a partner could even act like that. The next disturbing moment in episode 4 is how the players reacted to the baby becoming a player. After the rope bridge game had just finished, the players returned to the dormitory to then be announced that player 222 is still alive. The players were confused because they thought Kim already died, later to find out that the baby had become a player. All the players were furious and even approached Ji-hun and the baby saying, "We need to eliminate it." It was really disturbing to see that these humans could kill a baby so easily for the money. The final disturbing moment that happened in episode 4 is when In-ho revealed himself to Ji-hun. This scene was disturbing to watch, not because of In-ho exposing his face to Ji-hun, but because of what he said when he did it. When In-ho took his mask off, he said, "Sorry for your friend Jung-bae." In-ho killed Ji-hun's best friend as punishment for Ji-hun rebelling against the games. It was very disturbing to see Ji-hun holding himself back from stabbing the man he hates most on this planet. But Ji-hun is a very strong man for holding himself back, so major respect to him for that one. The final disturbing moment that occurred in episode 5 is when Minsu hallucinated Thanos and Namgyo in the final game. Minsu was completely out of it, and he was going through the worst withdrawals since he wasn't on Thanos' pill anymore. In this scene, Minsu goes to check over the ledge of the tower and then hallucinates something absolutely crazy. He sees Thanos and even hallucinates Namgyo, and he starts to freak out by kicking them in the face. Lee Myung-gi is looking at him wondering what the heck is wrong with this guy. The final disturbing moment in episode 5 is when the players wanted to use another player as a lunchbox. In order to advance to the next tower, players would need to kill a specific amount of players after they started the timer. The players purposely beat up a player so they could throw him off in the next tower after they started the timer. Player 039 was the victim of all this, but player 039 ends up throwing himself off when he knows what the player's intentions are and would rather throw himself off than the other players doing it. Such an inhumane act to do. This was very disturbing to see how player 039 reacted to this. The first disturbing moment in the final episode is Lee Myung-gi throwing his own baby off a tower. Well, threatening to throw it, but still. In my opinion, this was the most disturbing scene in season 3. In this scene, there was 3 players left: Ji-hun, Lee Myung-gi, and the baby. And one moment in this scene, Ji-hun is on the verge of killing Lee Myung-gi, and he starts to freak out, so he runs to his baby and uses him as bait so Ji-hun can spare his life. Guys, I'm curious, Do you think that Lee Myung-gi was actually going to drop his own baby in the scene, or was he bluffing? This was a super intense scene in season 3. The final most disturbing scene that I found, and I think this is my opinion mainly because some people may not find this scene disturbing, but more disappointing. Junho finally seeing his brother In-ho face to face. Junho had spent years to find his brother on the island, and he finally got the chance to see In-ho face to face. But sadly, In-ho said nothing back to him after Junho begged him to speak. This was disturbing for me on Junho's side because he tried so hard for so long but barely got anything back. Anyways guys, that's about it for this video. If you have any ideas for future videos for season 3, let me know. I'll be giving a person that gives me the best idea a shout out in my next video, and I mean it. But that's about it for my 6th video of season 3. I will see you guys in the next one. Until then, take care. And if you want to check my recent video, I put it in the middle of the screen right now. See you guys on the next one. Peace out.